Hello everyone, it is Teacher Marianne here from HelloTeacherMarianne.com, and on this channel you'll find videos all about getting hired for and teaching ESL online, where I am bringing you valuable tips, insight, and need-to-know information. Now, I initially began to make this video just for my referrals, and I thought, why not just share it with anyone who could use this information? And this is all about cutting down prep time for your VIPKID classes. Some of you may find yourself spending hours every week trying to prep for your classes. I have learned the trick and I have it down to a science, only spending about 10 to 15 minutes every day prepping for my next day's classes. So I just want to share that with you in case you can learn some tips to help you cut down your prep time. Now, before we go any further, please hit subscribe and give me a like if this video is helpful for you. You can also pick up my free guide to your online classroom setup by just heading over to HelloTeacherMarianne.com and requesting it there. Check out my channel for lots of videos on different subjects such as how do I increase my bookings, how do I help others get hired with VIPKID? How do I get great parent feedback? You'll find all of this information on my channel, and also I'll have some great things linked for you in the description box below. Okay, so let's get started. I literally spend 10 minutes, maybe a little less than 10 minutes, maybe a little more than 10 minutes every day prepping for my classes. I used to spend a lot of time prepping for classes. So what I would do is just pick a day, usually Sunday, and on Sunday, I would prep for all of my classes for the upcoming week. What I discovered was happening is students would cancel and then other students would rebook those slots, and so oftentimes I would get into a class because I had prepared for that class 3 or 4 days ago, and I got into the class and it was a completely different lesson, unit, every student, everything than what I had planned for. So it kind of like, threw me for a loop, and I had to think quick, and it just didn't flow, kind of mess up my rhythm. And so what I've learned is that because students will often cancel and then, other students will rebook those slots, it's just easiest for me to just plan the next morning's classes only. I don't go farther than the very next morning. And I just found that saves me from doing double work. So the first thing I do to plan for my classes is I keep a notebook. One of these notebooks fills up in no time. I keep a notebook right beside my computer. So that notebook is always visible to me, and I can always refer back to it throughout the morning anytime I need to. Every morning when I am finished teaching, then I go to my next morning's classes in the teacher app, and I look at what are all my classes that I have lined up for the next morning. And I literally write them out. Now I know it's hard to see on this notebook, and I hope this is easier for you to see. So I will just literally write the time, the name, the lesson code, and then the topic that the lesson is about, and then my reward. So these are the 4 pieces of information that I jot down every class. This morning, after my classes, I went to my upcoming classes and I jotted down, I teach from 3:30 to 8 typically in the mornings. So I just could fit 3 on here well. So I just showed you what 3 of them looks like, okay? So I jot down the time. Obviously, I know what my first class is. So 3:30, I have Tom, and his lesson code number is 21216. And it's all about America. And I chose to use from my Google Slides app, boys, pick one variety. Let's go ahead and start with the time is self-explanatory. Obviously, you just jot down the time. Let's go to the name part. If you've got regulars built up, not an issue. You know their name, even if it's a regular and they don't have an English name, you know how to say their Chinese name, or at least you know how you say their Chinese name. So I'm really talking about new to you students or unfamiliar students. Maybe you had this child one time a year ago and they floated back around to you, or just new to you students altogether. Maybe new to VIPKID students. for some reason they don't have an English name in the system, then I always go to the teacher-to-teacher feedback. So I'm already in the app and I'm already looking at my classes, so I just click on that student's name. Under that student's name, I will be able to see all of the other feedback that the previous teachers have left, if there are previous classes in the system. So typically when a student does not yet have an English name showing up in the system, maybe they haven't picked one out, or maybe they've picked one out but they haven't updated their name in the VIPKID system, they haven't updated their student's profile to reflect their English name, then a lot of times the previous teachers will leave themselves a note in the teacher-to-teacher feedback. His name is Edward, or his English name is Jason, or something like that. So that's very valuable. So I will write down the Chinese name, but in parentheses, I will put the English name that I gather from the other teacher-to-teacher feedback. Now that's important because number one, if it's a new student, new to VIPKID student especially, and they aren't very fluent in English, and a lot of times you may not be able to understand what they're saying if they're trying to tell you their English name. But if I already know what it is from the teacher-to-teacher feedback, it helps me tremendously. Even if they aren't pronouncing the name very well, I can see what it's supposed to say, and I'll say, "Oh, Edward? Hello, Edward." And so it's so helpful. The other reason that you really want to check the teacher-to-teacher feedback is for Chinese name pronunciations. There are a handful of students who just don't care to switch to an English name for VIPKID classes. And in this case, I've had students kind of maybe get a little offended. I don't know that they were truly offended, but it felt like they may have been a little offended because I could not pronounce their Chinese name. They would tell me their Chinese name, I would say it back to them, and they would, no. And so we would try again. And finally I would just say, "Okay, great, let's go." And it's very hard when you cannot call a student's name in the lesson, because you end up just calling their name very, very often when you're rewarding them, when you're redirecting them back to you. You're just always calling their name in the lesson. And it's hard if you cannot do that because you don't know what to call them. Another thing that teachers will do, and I've done this so often for other teachers, it's so appreciated, is when they will say, "Pronounce his name like this." And they'll just give a little, English, informal pronunciation key. Here's how you pronounce his name. And it is so very helpful. So that is another reason that I check that teacher-to-teacher feedback, and I will write that little pronunciation key in parentheses under their Chinese name in my notebook, so that I can, when I get there in the morning, I can just look at that and say, "Oh yeah, this is the one that's pronounced Jishun." And that is very helpful again. So time, name, be sure it's worth it to just dig around. It takes 5 seconds to scan the teacher-to-teacher feedback and see what is their real name, what is their English name, or how do I pronounce their Chinese name. Check to see if it's been left in the feedback. Okay, so we've got our time, we've got our name, and then the next thing I'm going to write is the course or the lesson code. So this tells me that this is Unit 2. Nope. This tells me that this is Level 2, Unit 12. This is the first time around. This number is either going to be a 1 or a 2. Lessons 1 through 6 are 1s, and lessons 7 through 12 are 2s. All right, so that just it gives you that piece of information. And then this lesson number 6. Okay, and then I just wrote America, so I know that this is the level 2 unit that's about visiting America. This is important because oftentimes you'll have the same, I may have 2 or 3 Toms, and they are all my regular students, so I definitely want to put the level, because I can say, oh, that's my level 2 Tom, not my level 4 Tom, because that's going to dictate which reward I use. I'm not going to use the younger little boy reward for my 13-year-old, Tom, who's in level 4. So I just like to have all of this within my eyesight. It just helps me feel like I have a good grasp on what my morning is going to look like for each class. And then the reason I write down the topic is because that's going to help me choose my reward. Okay, so and it's also going to help me grab quick props that I want to make sure are within arm's length. Just about all of my props are within arm's reach. However, they fall behind baskets, or they might get stuck in a basket they're not normally in. So I just want to very quickly make sure, oh, yep, I've got my American flag here, star, I've got my shapes, I've got my basketball, my soccer ball, whatever it is that I need within reach for that next morning. I'm just going to make sure that it's all right there. This, again, just takes seconds, but it adds so much to the experience of the student and the parent who is always watching the class, whether you see it or not. And it just helps you to appear to be very well prepared, and you're not fumbling, and it makes for a better overall experience. It's well worth spending that, extra few seconds to get prepared and just like, what prop could I use that would be interesting to tie into this lesson real quick, and just pull it out. And then also, this not only is going to help me with my props, but this is also going to tell me what reward that I'm going to use. So that's the very last thing I write down. And if you have not seen my video all about rewards for every level, any lesson, any level, then I'll be sure and put it up here, but also go check that out. It's in a playlist as well of ESL teaching strategies. That entire playlist is going to help you just implement all of the strategies that parents are looking for to boost your 5-apple feedback and your bookings. So because, again, we're on America, when I pull up my Google Slides on my phone, I'm going to type in America or visiting America. A lot of times I will jot down right here. If it doesn't give me a good enough description, then I'll also just jot down keywords that the lesson is about. So right there, I'm already in there. I'm already looking at the student. So all I have to do is click the little view materials for that lesson. And I don't even have to look at the slides. I'm just going to look at that writing on beside the slides that's going to give me my keywords, vocabulary, target words for that lesson, and I'm going to jot down any of those words if I need to. For instance, one of the first level 2 units is me, myself, and I. Well, that doesn't really tell me what are we going to be talking about in that unit. But if you look at the keywords, you're going to be talking about soccer. I play soccer with my friends. I play ping pong. I play basketball. So I'm going to just quickly jot down those keywords when I'm jotting down my classes. Instead of writing my friends and I would write basketball, soccer, ping pong. And that helps me know what that lesson is going to be about. It's because that's what I'm going to look for in my rewards and in my props. Okay, so I have either typed in the topic of the lesson or keywords from that lesson, and it's going to pull up a list of rewards for me to choose from, and I'm going to choose that whichever reward I choose, I'm going to write it here. Now, again, I use Google Slides for every reward, every class, but I'm going to write which one I chose right here. And that helps me first thing in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and look at my reward first, and I'm going to get it pulled up on my phone while I'm getting into the classroom, so that when I say hello, how are you, when you do a great job, it's already ready on my phone. Okay, I just want to say one more thing about rewards. Sometimes the topic or the title, there just aren't great rewards available, or maybe you've just exhausted those rewards already. You've been on this unit for 5 lessons already, and you've already used all of the ones that you really like with this child, with this particular student. So if there are not really any good ones related to the topic, or let's just say it's a younger student and you want to kind of inject some fun and some personal things into the lesson, just some of his personal likes or dislikes into the not dislikes, his personal likes into the lesson, then you would just, you know, one of my favorite ways to do that is to go to a variety reward. So basically you hold up his choices and there may be an ice cream, a hamburger, a soccer ball, you know, whatever. And which one do you like? The hamburger? Okay. And so you'll choose on the hamburger reward, and then you'll build a hamburger throughout the class. That's a really fun way to give those younger students a choice about their reward, and then they get excited about it because they kind of are taking a little bit of ownership. They had some say, they got to give you their opinion about the reward of the day. And so it just kind of helps a lot with those little ones. So I most often do rewards that are related to the lesson content, but if they're younger or older, if they're on the younger side or on the older side, a lot of times I will not. I will break away and do interest level rewards, or for the older ones, I'll do conversation starter rewards. But for the bulk of the students, it's pretty much related to the content. Okay, so like you can see, Grace, our lesson is on plants, and so I'm going to do the plants teacher versus student from Google Slides. Now again, Scarlett, we're on Peru tomorrow morning. However, we're on lesson 10 of Peru, and we have exhausted our Peru rewards. So I'm going to also offer her a variety, and we're going to do a star reveal variety. So she gets to choose, does she want My Little Pony, Mickey Mouse, Pikachu, whatever she wants. That's the star reveal we're going to do. Again, all of these are on Google Slides. So that is it. That was, that may seem like a lot of information, but literally that takes no more than about 10 minutes. If you've got several students that you can use the same reward for, then it takes 5 minutes, you know, because you're just, oh, I've got a lot of level 2s today, and I love this variety pack for, you know, choose which stars you want to get today. And so you just level 2 variety pack, every one. There are girls, there are boys, there are both. And it works out like that. It's really nice because it takes you no time to just jot down and prep for the next day. Okay, and that is it, guys. So you can see with just minimal prep each day, 10 to 15 minutes each day, you can prep for your next morning's classes and be ready, and just, you know, you're done. So I finished teaching at 8. By 8:15, I'm done at the computer. I walk away, go fix breakfast for the family, and get on with the homeschool day. It's really nice that you don't have to spend hours and hours prepping for these classes. It's really nice that the curriculum's already done for you. There's no lesson planning. There's really so little prep. Whether you use Google Slides, you know, digital rewards like I do, or you just have rewards already built into your system. You've already created your rewards and you just have several to choose from. It doesn't matter. You can do the very same thing, just would plug in your own reward system instead of typing it up and searching for it on Google Slide. But yeah, it just, again, like I said, it just helps to feel super prepared. Even if your first class starts at 3:30 and you know, got out of bed at 3:20, because you did that prep work the day before, you look super organized and super prepared. And remember, the students and parents, they're not always thinking about how early it is in the morning over here. So we really want to put our best foot forward in every class. We just don't ever want to come to class looking like we're not prepared and we don't know what's going on, because that's not going to get us good Apple feedback. Okay. I just think it makes a huge difference in the quality of my teaching when I take those few minutes every day after class. I do not get up from the computer before prepping for the next morning's classes. classes, I just feel so much better that it's done. And if I wait, then it's nagging at me throughout the day. I've got to prep for tomorrow's classes. I can't forget. I can't go to sleep without prepping. I don't like that. I like to know that when I'm done, and I don't have to think about it until I get up to teach next morning's classes. Okay, so I hope this helps. You can reach out to me anytime if you need some help at helloteachermaryann@gmail.com. You can also go to helloteachermaryann.com to find lots of great resources and information all about VIPKID. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.